Hello and welcome to the Church Podcast, where we talk to church people about church things. I'm your host, Ben Young. Join me on this adventure as we talk with amazing church members, helps ministers, leaders, and pastors as they share their insight and wisdom on church and ministry. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Church Podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I have an amazing guest for you today. He has over 30 years of ministry experience, including benevolence, pastoral care, singles ministry, youth ministry, college ministry. He's has been a baseball coach, I think, at the high school level. He's even played some professional baseball. And right now, he is an ICF certified life coach. He is the owner of Next Level Coaching. Everybody, please welcome Pastor Alex Esquerra. Thank you so much for joining. Oh my goodness.
I'm so glad to be with you guys today.
Oh man, I'm really excited. Man, there's so much to unpack. Where do I start? So tell me a little bit. Well, I'll just say how I met you. Jessica, my wonderful, lovely wife, she and I hope I don't butcher this. She's with me, but I met you through I met her and we got married, and she was very involved. You really spoke a lot into her life, as she was single, and of course you all were part of the singles ministry at the church that you were at there in Oregon, so she had always talked about how much you all impacted her life, and of course, I met my wife and we got married, and we made it a point. Usually, I think every time, right, honey? Every time we would make it a point to try to meet with you all, and I tell you, just the few, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 conversations that I've sit down and talked with you. I mean, try not to get emotional because you really spoke into my life, and it really made such an impact on me. I mean, I can honestly say you really helped propel me to think differently, and to when we got this house, the house that we bought recently, and just so many things you've impacted my life. So I should stop talking and let you talk a little bit, a lot actually. So tell me a little bit about how you got started in ministry, some of the things you did, and how you got involved in helping people.
Yeah. Like I tell you first, if I went way back, I think it's interesting on where I got my calling, even to be able to help people. Mm-hmm. And so I go back to a story when I was early in the Catholic Church. I received my confirmation, and then I remember hearing the priest speak. He did his little sermon after he did a little dedication for us. And then I went home and I was just there laying in bed, and I felt the presence of God like I've never, ever felt before. This was like a real thing. Wow. And so I just paid attention to it. And because at that particular point, God was basically someone that I'd call on every single Little League championship game. And I'd say, God, if you helped us win this game, I would follow you for the rest of the days of my life. And so, and that happened, believe it or not, 9 times. We won 9 championships. So God was real. He was real for me, based on that there. But really, truly, I got saved when my brother, back in the early days of YMCA, Jesus freak movement, and he got saved, and he'd come home from church, and he'd basically seek out every single member of my family, of which we have 12 in my family. Wow. And he'd seek them out, he'd follow them around and share the gospel with them until every single one of them got saved. Wow. And so we got saved. And then about in the 9th grade, I was, at that particular time, my dad had been out of work. He had a company he'd worked for. On a Friday, they closed down. After 23 years, they closed down. At 25, they get their pensions and they retire. Wow. But they close down on a Friday. They open up on a Monday. New name. Everybody loses their pensions. Creates a big financial burden for my family of 12. And Christmas time is coming. I have 4. Like I said, I had 10 siblings and 5 younger brothers and sisters. And I'm thinking, I'm 9th grade. What do I care? I don't care about gifts and Christmas and things. But we should make it important for them. And my sisters and I have three other sisters, but two of my sisters, we got together. We said, let's just cut down our arborvitae. And then we didn't have a Christmas tree that particular year. And up until that year, we'd always had the fake Christmas trees, but then we had a couple of real Christmas trees, so we got rid of the fake one.
Gotcha.
So we didn't have a Christmas tree, but we're feeling for my younger brothers and sisters. And then I wake up one morning, go outside, and somebody had put a full-grown Christmas tree. It must have been 8-10 footer
Wow.
on our driveway.
Wow.
So I go outside and I look on the driveway and there's a tree there.
Wow.
Christmas tree. It's almost like, wow, God pays attention,
Wow.
to the details. And then I said to myself at that particular time, the way that person made me feel when they put that tree on our driveway, because they didn't know our story. I said, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Wow.
People feel that way. And that's where the calling began. But,
Wow.
I had a few years of a year where I was age 16, went and did some landscaping with my brother for the summer. And that was my first exposure to a missionary woman who became a good mentor friend of ours. But that particular, at age 16, we're mowing her lawn. She invites us into the house.
Yeah.
We go into the house and she says, Alex, do you mind if I pray for you? So her husband had passed away maybe 10 years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So she uses some lemonade and then begins to pray. And then after she says amen, she says, Alex, the Lord told me that you're going to be a pastor.
Wow.
And she says, and you're going to be teaching people the greatest message. They're going to be doctors. They're going to be lawyers. They're going to be people really high income levels. And you're going to be teaching them the most important message ever. You're going to be teaching them about Jesus Christ.
Wow.
And when I'm 16, I'm going, no, I'm going to play professional baseball. She goes, oh, by the way, she goes, when if you're going to be a pastor, it'd be a good idea to be a pastor with the Assemblies of God because they pay their pastors really well. So
Hey.
okay. And so that kind of began my interest in this idea of doing ministry.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's where it began way back then, and then we moved into volunteering in youth. It wasn't until after my career was over. I only played 1 year professional baseball, but then working in landscaping at about age 27 or 28 was when we just volunteered for the first time to do youth ministry.
Wow. Oh my
And so we just basically take the street kids in and begin doing ministry with them. And that was my first exposure there. So.
Wow. Talk to me a little bit about your journey towards having children and a life-changing event that happened along the way.
So, I mean, a life-changing moment for us, like we didn't have kids early on. So we were married. I was 23, she was 21. And we didn't have kids. There's nothing wrong with either of us, but we didn't have kids for quite a while. So after about 5 or 6 years, we got into youth ministry. So we had basically in between our first couple of years, we got pregnant, lost our first child, miscarriage. Mm-hmm. And so we had decided, well, there's nothing wrong with either of us, so it must not be the Lord's plan right now. So we'll go ahead and just do ministry, and these will be our kids. These will be our kids for now. Yeah. And then when in the midst of a Bible study, one of our young gals just who wasn't at the study at the time, all of a sudden she comes busting through the door. She goes, "My brother's going to die. He's sick and he has cancer." And
wow.
Brother, we didn't know you had a brother. Yeah, he's at the hospital. So we went to pray with him at the hospital. He had chemotherapy. This young man had a leg amputated and was having to deal with chemotherapy. He's only, at the time, was only 15 years old or 14 years old. And so we go, and then after a couple of visits, we discovered that he would have to take a taxi ride home from his chemotherapy because his parents at that particular time weren't around to really take care of him.
Wow.
So we got involved, and Lisa went down there one day, pick him up, brought him home, and he just a whole heap of trash in his apartment complex. So
Mm.
we had to do the hard thing, mandatory reporter kind of thing, and took him for foster care. Took him into his foster care meeting
Yeah.
because he was going to have to go into the foster care system. And while we were there with them, he just asked the foster care people, the woman interviewing us, and he said, "Why can't I just live with them?" We looked at each other and we said, "Why not?" And he said, "Well,
Wow.
we're not certified or anything." She says, "We'll take care of that." Within a week, we had a young man living with us, 15 years old,
Wow.
full blown cancer in the midst of chemotherapy, and then within 2 years, at age 16, he passed away,
Hmm.
and then within a year of that, we got pregnant for the first time with Danielle.
Wow.
Well, not for the first time. We got pregnant with Danielle, and then we got 2 years later with Kyle,
Wow.
and then so now they're 29 and 30 years old now, and
Wow.
have their own kids. So
Wow.
miracle children.
Oh, that is amazing. Wow. So let's continue a little bit more with your story. So you were in San Diego at the time, right?
We were in San Diego at the time doing youth ministry. Changed to another church,
Okay.
and then we were just attending the church at the time, and then volunteering there with the college age ministry.
Yeah.
One day we they lock up after youth ministry about 10 o'clock at night. We were walking out to our car, and there were 4 kids. I remember distinctively. I could even remember which 4 they were, and they're sitting in the back of a blue truck. And one of the guys had a guitar, and he was just singing worship songs. And
Wow.
it was cold out there, and Lisa said, "Why don't you guys just come over?" And so they did, and that began almost really about a 5-year stint of
Wow.
almost every day, almost for 5 years, kids, college age kids coming over to our place, and within a year we were called in. Pastor wanted to talk to us and asked if he could have a meeting with us, and Lisa and I, we walked in, and the whole board was there for the church. We didn't know what we were getting into, and they go, and they said, so at that time I was working construction, landscaping. Lisa was working for the school district, and they said, "We'd like to hire you to do college age ministry, and we're going to pay you guys $1,000." $1,000. We are so rich. I mean, $1,000 to do. They said, and we don't want you to do anything more than you're doing now.
Wow.
But to pay you $1,000. That's when they put me through Bible school.
Wow.
And that kind of began there. And then we were on vacation after this 5-year window. We were on vacation, and that's when Pastor Stan called us and asked us if we'd come do singles ministry in Oregon.
Oh, okay.
So it was actually singles ministry, benevolence, which was also my passion. And then he said if I would come and coach the baseball team.
Wow.
But interesting enough, there was no high school at that particular time.
Huh.
So just on faith that Horizon would eventually build a high school and I could be the coach there, which eventually did happen.
Wow.
Within a 3-year period, I ended up being the head coach there for the baseball team. So then we went there, did singles ministry, and that's where we began. That's where we began a 23-year career there at Horizon.
Wow, that is awesome. So then you're there at Horizon for all that time, and you did all kinds of different ministry there. I'm sure you have tons of highlights, but anything to highlight during that time of ministry?
Yeah. Well, I think each particular area of ministry had its highlights, because believe it or not, I mean, benevolence could be a really sad work, but the experience I got through that, tragically, 5 suicides, which were very tragic, but I learned a lot, studied a lot. I really just wanted to understand that topic there. There's the memorial services, of which I felt a lot of I initially came just to do benevolence, coach baseball and singles ministry, but then as the years went on, we'd have pastors come and go, so my portfolio sort of evolved a little bit. So I ended up doing some weddings, doing a lot of pre-marriage counseling.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's always interesting when you see young people in love, and then with singles ministry, it was older people in love as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
a different perspective. We have COVID, where I was doing basically weddings with me and the bride and the groom,
Oh, wow.
and two guests standing outside the room.
Wow.
So we got those kind of fun times. There's the benevolence outreach when I get calls for help. Like once I had to go pay for a bus ticket for somebody in downtown Portland, and while I was there helping, our church is very gracious in their giving and their benevolence, and so they allowed me to go there and buy a ticket for somebody who just wanted to get home. And while I was there at the counter buying a ticket here, at the next counter there was a guy on the phone. Basically, the clerk had given him his phone so he could talk to his mother, and he's saying, "Mom," he goes, "I'm trying to get home, but there's no way. There's no way. I have 2 boxes and I have no money, and I can't
Wow.
get home. There's no way I'm going to get home." And then, so I'm just kind of trying to mind my own business, but it's hard to mind your own business when you have a church that's as benevolent as ours.
Yeah.
I just get to be a tool to be used. So I come over. I said, "Hey, who are you talking to?" He goes, "I'm talking to my mom. I'm telling her I can't make it home." And I said, "Well, let me talk to your mom." So I said, "Hey, ma'am, how you doing?" She goes, "Good." She goes, "My son is there. He's struggling, and he doesn't have money for boxes." I said, "Your son's coming home. He's coming home with his boxes. So we're going to take care of this right now."
Oh,
And
wow.
so we were able to bless that man. But basically a 23-year career of every year, maybe 4 or 5 of those kind of things that take place, meaning being at the right place, at the right place at the right time, and then being able to use what people, when they give their tithes and they're generous, and we're able to help people
Yeah.
be able to use like that. That would be essentially, along with working with singles ministries and their lives and their stories, that would be some of the highlights of the ministry there. In singles ministry, it was not just single people. It was divorced. It was widowed. It was people married once, twice, 3 times.
Yeah.
Some never been married at all. Some are still not married now. So navigating that, at one time we had 75 adults, and they had between them 75 children
Wow.
that were part of the ministry. And then we take that COVID hit, and everybody disperses, and then a lot of couples got married, and they take off to couples ministry. So
Yeah.
it's, yeah, that's all just part of the growth process. But it's just trying to keep people effectively drawing into the Lord for
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
all the needs, for all their wants, for all their desires, for all their dreams. Just trying to keep that at the forefront with everything we do. A love for the church, a love for God's people, because we always, it didn't matter how big that singles ministry got. We were always told them, I said, we're not ever going to become a political party. We're never going to go to the pastor and say, "Hey, we've got 150 people. Why don't we get a special night? Why don't we get special announcements? Why don't we get special mention of bulletin?"
Yeah.
It's all, if I could give any sort of advice to any support pastors out there, no matter what level it is, whether it be youth, college, singles, music, whatever, is that you do everything unto the Lord, of course, but everything really funnels for a love for the church as a whole.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we're all special, but everybody's special, but not for the sake of having special treatment.
Yeah.
You position yourself to truly, in a truly humble position, to serve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Serve because that's what Christians are supposed to do. No, it's just as a truly servant. I care enough about you to serve you. And one of our mentors there, Bob Tennant, came to teach one of our singles classes one time. He spoke on servanthood, and he used this line. He says, "After I'm done serving you, you owe me nothing."
Wow.
I I love that line.
I love that. That is amazing. Well, I just love it because Jessica and I we were talking like last night and about you and your lovely wife. And she had talked about that, how, and obviously I see it because, I've gotten to know you, but just listening to you, it just oozes out of you. I love how your heart just to help people. That's what you care about. And I just think that's amazing. And I just, like you said, you love the church, and it seems like the people that we talk about it comes at, having that relationship with Jesus and loving people. And that's what you do. You're not doing this to be like, well, okay, this is what I do, or this is what I did because I was a benevolence pastor. So, I got to do that stuff, but that's your heart. And I just think that's so cool to see that and to be a part of that and be involved in a church that is kind of cool too, to get a inside look of like, oh, that's what these tithes are going for. People are, might be like, what's going on? But like, they allowed you that, hey, this is people who are blessing the church. This is what their money is doing. This money is helping somebody get home to their mother. And what doesn't show the love, like, how can you do it? What doesn't show the love of God about that? I just think that's amazing. That is just, I love that. Wow.
We had a pastor whose heart was to serve as well and to love the body of Christ.
Yeah.
So there'd be at a time like during the year when, like, I remember one gal came in and just said, Pastor, here's $10,000 to Pastor Stan. I said, here's $10,000. I just want to give it to somebody who needs it, to people who need it. Yeah. And Pastor Stan, like, very next day calls me into his office and he goes, we just got $10,000. The woman said, give it to people in need. Find 10 people, give them $1,000 each. And I'm like, yes.
Yes.
what an assignment, because I
know.
I always kid around during our Christmas time. I have 9 brothers and sisters. One of my brothers passed away, but we have our giant Christmas at the house. We still all get together.
Oh, that's awesome.
Every year, I'm kind of like the master of ceremonies, and I have to. So we don't get gifts for the adults. We just get them for the itty bitty babies and the young kids.
Yeah.
But anybody who's old enough to read the Bible, they get in a big line, and then we start reading from Luke, the Christmas story. We just go through. So everybody takes little turns reading, and if they can't read, then I read a little part, and then the kids will repeat. So if they're old enough to talk, they will do this thing. But the reason I'm telling you this story, so after they're done, after we're done, we pray and then we pass out the gifts to the little kids. Yeah. So they always just assumed that I was Santa Claus because I'm the one who gave out the gifts.
That's awesome.
So in the benevolence world, I was like Santa Claus because I was the one walking around. Here's $1,000. Pastor said, give this $300 to you.
Wow.
So I always got to be the face, but really it was really that heart. The heart for giving in a church comes from leadership.
Yeah. Oh, you hit it.
Yeah. And then it flows into everybody else, because if they don't have a heart for giving, then nobody really will, because everything with the structure of the finances would be so tight.
Yeah.
And it was at all 3 churches I ever worked with and for in my lifetime, they've been from leadership down.
Wow.
Give it away. It was like turn on a faucet, right? If you if we stopped giving, then the Lord would just turn off the faucet. But because we kept giving, the faucet was just always open. And we were never without lacking for nothing.
Wow. I think that's awesome. And I think that's so important. Just like you said, you hit the nail right on the head about talking about leadership. Like, as I go through life, I talk like I'm this veteran in life, but as you grow and as you go and you see these different organizations and churches, you see that it, like, the leader. I mean, I guess it's been a little thing for me, a revelation, like, duh, but like, a church really does follow the leadership, or any organization. And I mean, you see how big of an effect, like, I didn't realize how big of an effect your leader has. And I just think that's amazing to see that, to have leaders like you've had who have been like, love the church and love giving and want to help people. I mean, that speaks volumes. It's just so awesome. Wow.
Well, that what you just said right there, the leadership is because people follow the leadership is also a statement of it could be a statement of caution as well. Is because people follow leadership, that's why leadership has to be more careful.
Yes.
The tone, because we can't assume that people learn the way that we teach it.
Ah.
So that's why I always say that's why I think the law, the senior pastor doesn't go up there, or the teacher on Sunday doesn't go up there and say, do these things or else, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when you're listening to the sermon, it could sound like that to you.
Ah, yeah.
So give to this building campaign and God will bless you.
Oh.
He's not saying, so God will bless you. He's saying he just does bless you.
Yeah.
It's a different tone. There's a different structure to that. So depending on how the people learn, and so yeah. I mean, you're always you're gonna find the English language very challenging when you're a leader, because you do have to be careful on how people learn what it is that you're teaching. You can't assume that they just get it.
Wow. Oh, that's so important.
They might not. So I always say, I love to serve, but I don't want to be your slave. I love to give you my money, but don't reach in my, pocket and take it.
Oh, wow. That's so good.
So, and that's where within the church, when you got people giving because they love the Lord, that's different than giving because they think that somehow they're going to be blessed.
Yeah. Wow.
As if it was a formula, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If it becomes a formula, it becomes law. And if it becomes law, then you might as well just take all the fruit of the Spirit, just throw it out. It's just not going to apply here today. And so, you wonder why sometimes there's strain in churches, and it's usually why.
Wow. That is so good. So I wanted to ask you, going back to and Jessica even tells me, after you were doing singles ministry, always having people over, always doing things. So I'm curious what your answer is, because I've had different people say different things. How did you balance your family time with ministry time? Or did you even feel did it not even feel like you had to I got to take a break from this and do this? Elaborate on that for me.
Yeah, I can tell you I didn't balance my time. I just did everything that I had to do and did as much as I can, and I've never ever felt that it was complete. So that's what always kind of kept me getting up the next morning. But when your wife and your partner is I would say, if there was a definition of ADD pastor, that was him. It's the tyranny of the moment, and I'd be sleeping on the couch, mouth open and resting. I can't move another, muscle. And I get a phone call and somebody has a need, and I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
So Lisa would say, can you take out the trash, or you can do it? I mean, something like that, something trivial like that. I'm going, oh, not right now. It's like, I can't move another muscle,
Yeah.
And then I get a call from a pastor or somebody who's in crisis, and I'm alert. And so we had those conversations, but we had them a lot. There was no, we were taught from our pastors at every level, especially the last level with Pastor Stan at Horizon, to prioritize, to block out our times, to have our family times, because we were taught correctly.
Yeah.
But I'm a prime example of somebody who didn't learn correctly. Or I learned correctly. I was taught correctly, learned correctly, but didn't apply correctly.
Yeah.
So it created some strain along the way, but none of it was I didn't end up with high anxiety or physical fatigue or some mental illness or whatever. Well, I I don't think so anyway, but depends who you ask. But I did end up uh, with scattered stuff, and but to have what helped was if I didn't have Lisa on the counter who was very organized.
Hmm.
It's like for me it was a classic example of that, those personality tests where they say the golden retriever is all.
Uh-huh.
You got to have that one who kind of organizes things.
Yeah.
And you would say, yeah, let's do a retreat, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, and then she would do everything, like
Yeah.
schedule. Yeah, let's instead of going out to eat, let's make food in. But you
Yeah.
got to buy the food, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just the idea guy.
Yeah.
Like, I just, and then and as it was, as a public speaker, because I really didn't like public speaking. So even the times when I spoke at the retreat,
Yeah.
I just if the Lord didn't give it to me at the moment, I didn't have it. I
Uh,
wouldn't have. So I would prepare, and I prepare my notes, but sometimes I look down at my notes and I'm like, so I would very much say that the success of singles ministry and ministry over 20 something years, over 30 something years, has been because my counterbalanced us
wow.
more. I would
Wow.
say she was more of the gifted ones, and I was kind of like the rep.
Uh,
But I was really good at the rep portion of it. And
yeah.
people, well, getting back to you guys now, see, this is why Jessica was ideal, ideal woman of God who just pressed into the Lord all the time. There was no doubt about that.
Yeah.
We didn't have to worry about her. We knew that when we got together, there'd be prayer time, there'd be laughter, there'd be joy, there'd be, there weren't. She was not absent of common struggles of life,
Uh,
but had such a Jesus first.
yeah.
It never was any extra work to get her to that place. So if you're thinking like singles ministry is hard, it wouldn't have been nearly as hard if we had more like her.
Oh, that is awesome.
Complimentary, made our job so much easier.
Wow.
So
Oh, that's wonderful.
Thank you. I love you guys so much.
and look who you ended up with. We loved him since
I
the day we met her.
know. I know. It's such a blessing.
She is such a gift from God in my life and such a blessing. Thank you so much. I love how you're very aware of how you communicate with people and how you teach them and how they are going to understand what you're teaching. Share a little bit more about that when teaching people about Jesus and what that looked like in teaching others throughout the years.
Well, once again, what you teach is different than how people learn it.
Yeah.
So really, if you might just say, one of the things that I think was beneficial is that over the years, I never moved away from assuming that the Jesus I was talking about was the Jesus they believed in.
Wow.
Because it could be a different Jesus. It could be a Santa Claus Jesus. It could be a lot of times when people get in crisis, they think, well, where's God? I can't see him, can't find him.
Yeah.
And, where is he when I need him?
Mm-hmm.
And so you see, well, the Jesus they're talking about, because I never taught about that kind of Jesus, and I wasn't taught about that kind of Jesus. I always thought that Jesus was by the power of the Holy Spirit, that he lives in your heart.
Yeah.
So where could he go? Where could you go where he's not there, if he lives in your heart? See, but that's the way people can box him in and categorize him, and so he only exists if he does good. And so this understanding of how could good things happen to bad people, well, that's only a small shift in how you believe in Jesus for you to think that could possibly be true.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, that was the ministry, the constant keeping people to understand the true Jesus,
Wow.
the real life one, the God who sent his son Jesus, therefore, to take care of the sins of all of men and women, that everybody deserved him, but not everybody was at the same level
Mm-hmm.
of theological understanding of Jesus either.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't go around punishing them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Grasp it, and then you add the Holy Spirit mix in there, the speaking of tongues, or spiritual ranking. These people pray more, these people sing more, these people have scriptures, and so by themselves they're a rank and file, better than to be the better Christian.
Mm-hmm.
That is the ministry. If you're a minister out there, that your job is to help with that and to diffuse the positioning of leveraging the deep thinkers versus the deep theological understanding,
Yeah.
versus the plain outright strong believer who really could possibly be a hypocrite. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
They creep in. They're really good at speaking it, sharing it,
Mm-hmm.
versus the beautiful voices, but who are they when the lights are on?
Wow. Wow. That's really good.
But that's the work of the ministry. Not as if, oh my goodness, it's nice when you get a group of people that have matured,
Yeah.
but like I always just say, I think if the wind wasn't blowing in my face, I was going to try to find where the wind was,
Mm-hmm.
because that was the ministry.
Wow.
And if I didn't find it, it found me.
Wow.
So there was no, like, I kind of put it this way: we have people over at the house all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When they come through the door at my house, remember, I had kids that grew up in ministry or whatever. My kids grew up in ministry, so it had to be a safe atmosphere.
Yeah.
Safety first and foremost for anybody who entered my home. I kept an eye on everybody and everything. My leadership team was trained. You keep an eye on everything. No kids are ever allowed upstairs, so we had these kind of guidelines as far as people over the house. But I always say this, that when people came to our door, Lisa would hug them,
Uh-huh.
and when they come to greet me, I would hug them too, but I'd feel for weapons.
Wow.
But she just loved people, right?
Yeah.
She loved people, but I was constantly
Wow.
weighing and evaluating and making sure that people were safe.
Wow. Yeah.
Nobody knew this, but like my self-appointed job was to find out who only brought chips to the potluck.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the same people would only bring chips, and the bag was opened. The bag was already open when they got what they do, buy at the store and then open
Eat them on the way. They're
way.
hungry on the way.
like bringing Oreo cookies and taking all the tops off.
Yeah.
That was my self-appointed mission.
Oh, that is great. That is awesome. So you all have had a pretty big transition lately. And I want you to share a little bit about that, share about, the move and what you're doing now and what led up to that.
Yeah, well, my son moved. My son's a gamer online, and he moved to Arizona with his two children, and that was good. We were doing okay because Danielle still lived. She still lived with us in Oregon.
Yeah,
and we all came from a family vacation, and then while on vacation, Lisa and Danielle go take a walk up the street, and then Danielle comes back and said, "Oh, I saw this house. It would be beautiful, be perfect for us." And her husband says, "No way, we're not moving to Arizona. It ain't gonna happen, And so we all go back from the family vacation. And a month later, her husband tells Danielle, "Say, if you want to move, let's do it. We got to do it."
Wow.
The window's open, so Danielle's like, within a month, she's moved.
Wow.
And so she lives. So you could, from Kyle's house, you could see Danielle's house.
Wow.
And then, so now we got all 5 grandkids here, and then our kids here and their wives. And so we tell the kids, we'll consider moving too. Look for a house for us. Well, they found us a house 2 blocks away, so now we all live 2 blocks away from each other.
That is so awesome.
We never saw our house.
Wow.
We never saw that. They just said, we think it's this one. It wasn't even built yet. You'll like it. It's on a corner and it's close by. So we ended up doing it. But it is hot here in the summertime.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
It doesn't matter because I still have my hobbies. I run. I run every few days. I still train for a half marathon again.
Oh, wow.
Continue to do that. Stay as healthy as possible. Wow. So, and at this stage in life, when I transitioned over, I did HR work for 6 months.
Okay. Wow.
A company that worked, a company out of Oregon that served in Washington. So basically, the disabled and the elderly of Washington, of the state of Washington. So I just did HR, did a lot of interviews. I think it was quite the most entertaining part of in the history of my working career was doing HR. I think I could be, I even told her, I said, I'd love this job if all I had to do was do interviewing.
So tell me about so you went through, you worked HR for a while as a transition. So tell me about the transition from that. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing now.
So that job just ended a week ago.
Wow.
It went a week ago, but in the meantime, for 7 months, I've been training online with three different agencies, basically, into 3 different programs to then launch officially and on social media my life coaching. So it will be a full website, self-generating leads. Where I'll have the program online. I'll be selling products online, and basically working in those 5 major areas that I told you about earlier.
Wow. So yeah, we were talking about those 5 key areas before we started recording. So share with us some of those key areas that you'll be specializing in.
Yeah. So it's going to be, first and foremost was going to be the life, just the life coaching general subject. It could be a general subject, but there's also life coaching that involves goal setting. So high level goal setting. And then sometimes I get people with pre-divorce. So one of the spouses or the other has told the other one, I want a divorce. So help them through that.
Wow.
Or sometimes they come where I just got divorced and so I'll kind of coach them through the healthy part of that. I did for many years divorce care at Horizon 2 and then working with singles and divorced people. So I have a lot of experience there. I've had studied special studies in trauma and suicide ideation as well. I've done some training in that. Of course, the chaplaincy portion of it, first responder thing, and then the biggest thing that I want to get involved with would be the high level strategies when it comes to helping people set goals. So it's not just a simple, this is what I want to do by Friday kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is a life-changing thing. Some people are going to be some people that contact me are wanting to leave $300,000 jobs to start their own thing.
Wow.
But they have the ambition, but they don't have the ideas. They don't have the goals. They don't have and they have a lifestyle that they love, but they just don't like what they're doing for a living. So being able to help them transition then into give them support needed to help transition to the metrics involved, the accountability involved, healthy accountability. So that's where I'm starting now. So I've been in training, but I actually been doing this full time for a whole week.
Wow. That is awesome. That is so cool. Well, I just think it's so cool how just all the things that, this is like a duh moment, but like all the things you've done, it's just so cool to see what God has done. All the things you've done over all these years, you've had a heart for people, but all those things God prepared you for this season now, all those things. And you've gotten all this training, you've gotten, professional training, but you got training and like from God in all the things and all the ministries and everything that you've done. It's just so cool to see how God orchestrated that. I just think it's amazing. And there's no one better than you to coach people. And I just think it's amazing. So it's just so cool. And like I said, you've impacted my life and my wife's life so much. And I'm just excited. So tell me, how can people reach you?
Yeah, well, I believe it or not, as simple as can be, my website's www.alexesquerra.com.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And so it'll be, it's just my name and then .com at the end of it. And then on there, it allows you to set up a strategy session or a discovery call. Or if you just want to talk to me about an idea or whatever, you can just go there, click on my calendar, get on right now. So at the end of 5 days from now, the whole website will be live and populated from the funnels to the strategy pages to the beginning development stages on there. So I just finished all that today, entered that on, gave them all my data, so they're just going to put all that on.
Oh, that is awesome. And just for everybody listening, by the time this podcast releases, it will be up because this podcast, we're recording this a few weeks ahead of time. So it will be, well, that is so awesome. Thank you so much. I just can't say, like I said, I can't say in words how much just in what little I've gotten to know you, and I hope to get to know you more, but how you've impacted my life. And I just appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today and share about your life. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining us today on the Church Podcast. We would love to hear from you. Email us at thechurchpodcastwithben@gmail.com. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with a friend. Once again, thanks for joining us on this journey of the Church Podcast.